Thousands of mourners gathered to say prayers and lay flowers in memory of those that lost their lives. In Warsaw, as in other Polish towns and cities, flags flew at half-mast as a mark of respect.
A nation in mourning. Tens of thousands of people have been attending church services across Poland to pay their respects to all 97 people who died on board the presidential jet. Many believe the aging Tupolev should no longer have been in service.
He did from the radio, and it was shocked for us, and because so many people died, and so president and his wife and many Polish parliamentarians and important people for us, so it's hard to say.
It will not affect us in terms of any political organization. The nation is well organized, and we have a constitution that is in place, and the country will run both economically and politically stable, but it's a great shock for everyone.
I think about the tragedy of our President Kaczynski, who made a huge mistake. He got into a Tupolev which fell 2 years ago and was later repaired instead of the government buying a new one. The Sunday newspapers are filled with the obituaries of the dead. One mourner took solace in the fact that the world now knows about the Katyn massacre of 22,000 Polish officers on Stalin's orders as a result of this new and painful tragedy for Poland. As the country's Catholic Archbishop held Mass in Krakow, the religious capital, in Warsaw, outside the presidential palace, families holding candles and flowers stood in tears. Some knelt on the ground, wrapped in Polish flags, and prayed. In Moscow, there were tributes. Russia's Prime Minister Vladimir Putin showed solidarity by saying, "This is a tragedy for us too. We feel your pain."
Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin has vowed to find out what caused the plane crash which killed Poland's President Lech Kaczynski on Saturday. Putin will head the inquiry into the accident that killed the Polish head of state and 96 others when his plane came down in Smolensk, western Russia. The Russian premier said, "Everything must be done to establish the reasons for this tragedy in the shortest possible time." Reports say the pilot had ignored requests to reroute to another airport. Kaczynski, along with several senior government officials, was on his way to a remembrance service for the victims of the Katyn massacre. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk joined Russian Premier Putin last night at the scene to pay their respects to the late president. Relations between the two countries had long been strained, and Kaczynski was a vocal critic of Putin's efforts to restore Russia's influence in Central and Eastern Europe. Jarosław Kaczynski, leader of Poland's opposition Law and Justice Party, has visited the site where his twin brother died. He flew in late Saturday to help identify some of the bodies.
To ja jestem jedynka, tak? Nie, nie. Od anten. Nie, jeszcze nie. Jeszcze nie. Mogę od tych samochodów ci dać, o tutaj kupa jest tak, że tu do telewizji. Niech on cię nie kina, ale to się trzęsie. Nie wyjdzie. Nie, ja nie do ciebie. Chodzę to siedzi i już. No dobrze. Chłopak.
Ale nie ma być przyszłony, to jest bariera na nas.
Proszę Państwa, zamknijmy się pół kroku do tyłu.
Tutaj jest bariera za nami.
Wszyscy pół kroku.
Tam na środku.
Po co było trzymać barierkę?
Tam pan nie dopatrza, no barierę. Tam na środku.
No jaki złośliwy był.
and welcome to Euronews. We bring you these live pictures from Warsaw, Poland, where crowds have gathered outside the presidential palace, people lining the streets as the body of the late President Lech Kaczynski arrives by motorcade. President Kaczynski was among at least 96 victims who died in a plane crash on Saturday in Western Russia in the Slomensk region. The plane had come down at 7 a.m. GMT when the President and a group of senior government officials were on their way to a memorial service for those that lost their lives in a massacre by the Soviet army 70 years ago. And we can see now the police escort leading the way. The President's body arrived some 2 hours ago at Warsaw's main airport. There it was met by his twin brother Yaroslav and his daughter, who said prayers and a few private words before the convoy made its way towards the presidential palace. President Kaczynski's death will now trigger a presidential election, I have to say. That date has not yet been set, but under Polish law it must take place before the end of June. And as you can see, there are many thousands of Poles that have turned out to pay their respects to their late president, the first Polish leader to die in office since World War II. A tragedy which has shocked the Polish community both in Poland and expatriates abroad. Many people following these pictures on television and across cities all over the country. Now the President's body will lie stay to the presidential palace. No fixed term has been set for how long that will happen. No date yet set either for his funeral. But one can expect many Poles to pass through the gates of the presidential palace to pay their respects to their deceased leader. Away from Smolensk Airport, those reports not yet confirmed, and also some reports in Polish media saying that it was in fact the President that insisted the pilot land at Smolensk despite the terrible weather conditions. Again, I do stress these reports unconfirmed. There obviously will be a full investigation into the crash. And we go back to the pictures of thousands of Poles waving flags, some even applauding, many of them in tears, saying their final prayers for the late President Lech Kaczynski.
Drapeaux, en sortant des bougies, en sortant les portraits des différentes personnalités qui sont décédées, spontanément.
Desde su aterrizaje en el aeropuerto de Varsovia, de un avión militar del ejército polaco,
là où le corps donc du président Lech Kaczynski va être va être déposé. Les officiels font état de...
Obviously, there will be a presidential election that has to take place before the end of June.
Ha habido un error técnico del aparato, lo cual cierra algunas de las hipótesis sobre este accidente aéreo. Repetimos, según la Fiscalía rusa, no ha habido fallos técnicos en el aparato.
He is widely tipped to stand himself in the election. And Lech Kaczynski himself had on numerous occasions said he planned to run for a second term. The elections were due to be held in autumn. They're now being brought forward as a result of his death. Now, of course, the grim irony in this tragedy, the President and the group of senior government officials were on their way to mark the 70th anniversary of the Katyn massacre. Those were killings that took place 70 years ago when Joseph Stalin ordered the Soviet army, to murder thousands of Polish prisoners of war. Estimates of the numbers who died, some 22,000 Polish officers were killed those 70 years ago. And so, once again, the people of Poland are mourning the loss of their fellow countrymen in the forests of Western Russia. And we can see, as the motorcade continues to make its way down towards the presidential palace in central Warsaw, not entirely clear from these pictures which vehicle is carrying the president's body, but it is heavily guarded by police vehicles. Now, Prime Minister Donald Tusk has called this accident the most tragic event in Poland's post-war history. A week of mourning has been declared, and of course President Lech Kaczynski was very much a polarizing figure during his lifetime, but Poland is very much united in grieving his death. This was a man, remember, who held some somewhat hardline views on law and order, and during his tenure as mayor of Warsaw, opposed to which he was elected in 2001, he infamously banned gay pride marches, subsequently issuing a permit for a so-called parade of normality. So he was a controversial figure in Polish politics. Many of the cosmopolitan elite, the bourgeois middle class, did not exactly warm to his brand of right-wing nationalism, conservatism. But he did enjoy strong support domestically. And you can see mourners throwing flowers on. There is the hearse carrying the body of the late Polish president, making its way through the gates of the Polish presidential palace, where it will lie in state for several days. No confirmation as yet to how long that will be. There will be people across Poland who will want to pass through those gates to pay their respects. motorcade looks like it's coming to a standstill. Security officers following in. And as you can see, the coffin of the late president draped in a Polish flag. Polish flags that have been flying all across the nation at half-mast as a mark of respect, not only to the president, but also the rest of the victims that were killed on board that tragic flight that came down early on Saturday morning in Western Russia. Polish officials so I believe it's the military officials are going to remove the coffin from see the coffin has now made its way inside the presidential palace. The crowds outside completely silent, save for the sounds of the press photographers outside. As several dignitaries file in to also pay their respects to the late president, Lech Kaczynski. And just to give you an update on the bodies of the other victims, they've been taken to Moscow, where relatives are gathered. The task will now begin to identify those bodies. As we go back to the scenes outside the presidential palace, this is where several thousand people gathered earlier this morning at midday Warsaw time, that's 10 a.m. GMT, for a 2-minute silent tribute. And as I said, to a 2-minute silent tribute for the victims. That was a ceremony respected also by Polish towns and cities across the country and the strong Polish expat community across the world. Similar ceremonies being held at embassies, Polish community groups, churches, from London to Brussels, and even in the United States. The shock is such, it is now, just also to remind you, also on board the plane, the Polish First Lady, Kaczynski's wife Maria, several senior government officials, the head of Poland's armed forces, the central bank governor, deputy ministers, MPs, and a number of journalists who were travelling with the party. Now, the initial indications of Russian officials are that the pilot ignored warnings from air traffic controllers to take a diversion to another airport, the conditions being particularly bad Saturday morning. And apparently the pilot ignored those warnings and tried to land with fatal consequences. So we're shortly going to be leaving this live feed from the centre of Warsaw. If you're just joining us, we've just witnessed the convoy that accompanied the body of the late Polish President Lech Kaczynski, who died in a plane crash on Saturday. It made the short journey from Warsaw Airport to the Presidential Palace. And we'll bring you more on this story throughout the afternoon and the evening on Euronews.
Hungary's political landscape looks poised to change in today's elections. A conservative comeback, a rout for the ruling socialists, and a breakthrough for the far right are all being forecast. The country's complex two-round election system makes it hard to predict the allocation